Well, and welcome to part 4 of the Survival Report Survival Gardening Basics series. Going to touch on a couple of subjects this time. One of them is going to be a couple of questions that have come up from some of the readers, what to grow and things like that. Just a nice little stand of corn here, and I'm going to make a point as I go up to it. You know, corn is something that a lot of people want to grow and everything else, and you know, from a survival standpoint, it's kind of overrated for a number of factors. Number one, it takes so much water and nutrients and such from the soil, but also consider the fact that if this was just a small stand of beans or you know, potatoes or something like that, we wouldn't have this problem right here with visibility. Okay, what's beyond that cornfield? That corn section right there. What's beyond that? Hard to tell, isn't it? Had a deer down here the other day and couldn't see through this to see the stuff behind there to take the shot at the deer. And I think the deer was maybe being a pest. Of course, you know, we'd never hunt out of season. That would be wrong. But anywho, and too hard to put up. Too much of a rush in the summertime to put up a deer. But just consider this, the fact that this is a nice pretty stand of corn and all that good stuff, but consider the visibility factor. Being able to quote-unquote watch your perimeter and such. If this was on your perimeter, it doesn't happen to be here. But the point being is you can hide a lot of stuff in a stand of corn like that. I don't know if you've realized it yet, but there is a target right in front of us, somewhere in that corn. And again, I did this to bring home the the point about this. Okay, so you're bebopping down here. You know, you know, you're in the paw and you've thought about it more, and you're going, okay, well, I need to go down and check on my corn crop. And you get walking on down here and stuff, and you get a little bit closer, and what is that? Hey, that's the local food scavenger. They're setting you up for a shot. Okay, and it just happens to be a plastic training target right now. But point being, these are the targets that when we do classes and such that we'll train folks on. Because the very small silhouette targets, that thing maybe sits 18 inches off the ground, if that, and is hardly any wider. But the point is, folks are not going to stand there out in the open and allow you to see them. They're going to get down low like this target is. They're going to hide themselves and such. So, a little bit of a lesson there. We would have got shot today going down to check our corn patch. So again, if this was something with a little lower silhouette, some beans, such like that, you know, it would have been easier to spot our little target example here. So one of the other reasons I'm not very fond of growing corn, and I know that seems ironic with a huge stand of it here, but this was just something we wanted to do this year to try it out again. And remember me just saying about how the fact of the matter is that corn requires so much fertilizer and water and such to really get to really get a good crop. Well, here is a section of corn that we purposely did not use as much fertilizer on. Okay, you can see the difference in this corn. It's not nearly as green. The ears are much smaller. The stalks are thinner. And you'll notice it's a lighter shade of green. These videos always turn out well, but by the time you get them uploaded to YouTube, they seem to have lost a fair amount of quality. Anyways, the difference is night and day. It's the difference between a hunter green and a really light green. And that shows a big difference in the nitrogen and such. So again, corn is not going to be a good primary survival crop as a vegetable. Now as a grain, you know, dry corn, whole dent corn, if you have nothing else there that you can grow for your grains and such, we've had good luck with wheat here. We've seen it in some of the other videos. We've put a fair amount of that up from stuff we've grown. But if you can't grow wheat for whatever reason in your area, whole dent corn would be a consideration only for the grain factor. The sweet corn, the vegetable corn, which is what we have growing here right now, isn't much of a consideration for a survival crop. Some of the considerations we're going to use in picking what to grow from a survival standpoint, and again, we're not talking so much about, you know, everything during good times, you know, backyard garden to brag to your friends type of thing. We're talking about really growing food where it counts. Is the fact that, number one, folks might be trying to steal your produce. You know, there's a whole class of people, and it's not based, in my opinion, on race or anything like that, but there's a whole class of people in this country and in the world. I call them "you owes me" type people, is because they have this mindset that the world, that everybody owes them, and they never have to do anything on their own. So you know, that's something to consider. Is the "you owes me" type are going to be possibly looking to raid your garden once they get hungry and things like that. So if we have some super huge big crop, like say for example right there, this broccoli and such, that's pretty recognizable, and this is late in the season for broccoli. This is why it looks so terrible in that it's getting into the high 90s and the low hundreds here, and broccoli can, you know, it's a cool weather crop. It really doesn't make it here. We're actually letting this stand go to seed, and we'll show some of that here in just a second. But broccoli, you know, tomato plants, things like that, are a fairly recognizable crop. Somebody could see that you know, that there is in fact a plant fairly used to, you know, what they're seeing at the store that's right here. Now what about in amongst these weeds here? You recognize anything in amongst these weeds? Oh man, this guy just lets his garden go. You know, he's just a total lazy slob, you know, the whole 9 yards. There's carrots in here, okay? And zoom in a little bit on some of the areas where we thinned them a little bit, so you can see a little bit better that there is actually carrots here, and I'm not just showing you weeds and lying to you. But that's a consideration here as well, is especially if you're in an area where it's going to be hard to defend what you have, or if you're trying to do the whole, you know, I'll make it covertly type deal, is you're going to have to rely on a lot of crops like this that you can hide, okay? And a broccoli plant is pretty visible. A broccoli plant is very easy to spot for most people. But you know what? If you see these carrots in and amongst these other weeds that look an awful lot like carrots, how did that happen? The folks might miss it.